We recognize the Minister of the Solicitor General.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Monte Kwinter was for so many years my own MPP, and he loved his community, and it was obvious. He set a high standard of being an MPP and attending many local events as he could, and he surrounded himself with capable and loyal staff who were an extension of himself. And he set a standard of excellence when it came time to returning calls, even those calls that were difficult, because one of them was mine. His colleagues described him as respectful and polite and gracious and elegant. These are traits we need now more than ever. I had many personal opportunities to see him in action, but perhaps it was his grandson's comments at the funeral, at the eulogy he gave, when his grandson said, "It's about being in the arena, that the greatest distinction is service to others." And I heard many stories that he spent a lot of time crisscrossing the aisle right here in this chamber because he had friends all over this chamber. He was an exemplary individual who was compassionate and empathetic, and these, again, are traits that we need so badly in 2023. And his campaigns were, by all standards, old-fashioned, but they were real. For many of us, we remember him and his late wife, Wilma, sitting or standing at the corner of Bathurst and Wilson, just waving and connecting with thousands of cars driving by. And I have to tell you, it worked for me. And this was Monte. Madame le Président, la raison de leur...
Madam Speaker, the reason of our service is to be able to make the difference in the life of people when they do not expect that, because we believe in our province and in our future.
Someone's life every day because he believed in our province and in our future. A man, wrote an Irish poet, is original when he speaks the truth that has always been known to all good men. And Monte was an original. He was a good man, a man of character, a man who loved his family and his treasured wife, Wilma, and we remember Wilma today. Monte and I were about the same age when our journey began. Monte served here almost 33 years. I have a long way to go. But when you start at this age, you start by leaving your ego behind. You start with understanding that we have a role to do good here, and he did good. He was, in fact, the Minister of Corrections and Public Safety in the early 2000s, about 20 years ago, a role that I have today, another great connection to Monte. But one thing that always struck me was his gentility and his kindness and his wanting to learn about others. He was one of about 24 Jewish MPPs that have been elected here since Confederation, grounded in the values that he knew. He knew about his religion, and he took it seriously, something I do as well. People don't become leaders because they're great. They become great because they're willing to serve as leaders. And he did so in the cabinet of both Premier Peterson and Premier McGuinty in tough roles. And sometimes he said things his party didn't agree with. And that was okay with the residents of York Centre. When Monte spoke, people listened. In my office remains a legacy of Monte, a beautiful collage oil painting with specific instructions. This painting belongs to those who serve as MPP for York Centre, something that I treasure. A Canadian rabbi, Rabbi Reuven Balka, once wrote how we have to, as Canadians, be inspired with optimism and humility and devotion to kindness. And again, this was Monte. So to Richard and Rob and Lisa and Kathy and all of the esteemed people in the gallery today, we say, may Monte's memory always be for a blessing, and may you find comfort on the legacy he left us all here. Thank you. Merci, miigwech.